We're live. Shalom Israel. This is the I.S.U.P.K HQ headquarters Sabbath service. Shafar, all phone on silence. Yayan. La Yasharala, which means to Israel. Shafar. One more again. All right. We're going to begin the Sabbath service with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Men of Israel, saw upon your Rakadam, which means turn and face the east. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kadash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakavka, Taba'ah, Tazaka, Hayah, I.S.U.P.K, Ba'aratazah, Hawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Natananawa, Nakam, Ha, Yawam, Masalakanawa, Kawawakinawa, Kasalakanawa, Kawawakinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Balasai one, Abal, Hawashinawa, Mayan, Rai, Hayah, Lakah, Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Wa'atapa Arath, La'awalamyam, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakak, the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Babakashah, Nathanaw, Hakak, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Hamakala, Rakamadewa, Hakak, Lata'ah, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La'akwiyam, Hamathiam, Hakak, Al Rakawaf, Hatama'al, Nagarashan, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Tawada Aman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushua, thank you. So be it. Psalm 121 in the Hebrew, Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ha-ha-hoyam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ai, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Ba'aratazah, Ayatan, Nabawat, Bagalka, Ayanawam, Shamarka, Hanala'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a Yakaka, Wayarak, Balayalah, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makarai, Yashamar, Afnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Hazafka, Wabawaka, Ma'aita, Wa'ait Iwalam, In the English, I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth, even forevermore. Psalm 83 in the Hebrew, Alahayam, Adama Yalaka, Alta Karash, Wa Alta Shakwat, YAHANNA, Our YAHANNA, Yahama Yawan, Wamashanayaka, Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, I.S.U.P.K, Yai Rayamwa, Sawat, Wayakaya Aitazawa, Altazapawanyaka, Amawa, Lakawa, Wanakakida, Magoya, Wala'ah, Yazakar, Shamyasharala, Iwad, Haya, Nawa Aitazawa, Lab, Yakadwa, Ayaka, Baraf, Yakarafwa, Ahoya, Adawam, Wayashamaya, Ayawam, Mawa'aba, Wahagoya, Gabor, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimalak, Palashah, Am Yashabia, Tazawar, Gum Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zawawai, Nabanya Lawa, Salah, SHALAM, Kamadian, Kasaya Sara'ah, Hayabian, Banakal, Kwayashwan, Nashamadwa, Bayanda Ara, Hayawa, Daman, Na Adaba, Shayatamwa, Na Yabawa, Ka'ira, Wakazaaba, Wakazabak, Wakatazamanai, Ka Nasayakamwa, Ashar, Amawa, Nayarasha, Lanawa, Na'awa, Alahayam, Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Kagogala, Kakwash, Lapanya Raka, Ka'ash, Taba'ira Ya'ira, Wakalaaba, Tala'at, Harlem, Kantawadatma, Masa'iraka, Waba Sawapaka, Tabahalam, Mala'a, Hanyaham, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahweh, Yabashwa, Wayaba'awa, Aya'ai, Wayakapawa, Wayabadwa, Wayada'aiwa, Kaya, Afa, Shamka, Yahweh, Nabatka, Ayawan, Al-Kaha Arakaza. Keep not thy silence, O my power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still. O my power. For lo, thy enemies make it to moat, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation. And the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Saul also is joined with them. They have opened the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisa, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like a rat, and like Zahab. Yea, all their princes, as Sabbath. Alexa, be quiet. And as Almuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power and possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burning for wood, and as the flame set of the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded, and trouble forever. Yea, let them be put to shame, and perish, that man may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, or the Most High, over all the earth. Blessing in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. YAHANNA. Mayaka Allah. Wa Alahayim. Matazabia. Alawat Yahanna. Ha Alawapyam. Ha Saranyam. Ha Quatazayanyam. Ha Kayayanyam. Wa Aquathyam. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Zawada Aman. In the English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushua, and Michael, and the angels. Commander General YAHANNA, the generals, captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, thank you. So be it. I.S.U.P.K curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into that sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Pasikamatasa, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Wall Street. Open up the internet, and the airwaves, cable access channel, and the radio channel. Convict the spirit of any of our people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way of trying to stop us from broadcasting your word throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the planes, cause them to go through and fro to the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael and Gabriel, come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak that word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Cause it to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushua, thank you. Always. So be it. Saul, which was good. Where's our cross? Outside about you. Come on.
You got started that thing?
All right, last week we left off at 2 Chronicles, chapter 3. So like chapter 6 and verse 38. We're gonna pick up at 6 Chronicles. So like 2 Chronicles. I say 6 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles. You got it?
Charge it right now.
Cut.
What if I hear it well?
Cut. All right. This week we're picking up at 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 39.
Do you need water, other one? Water some?
Uh,
Right now.
So the registry.
I ban Yahawada, ban Yasharala.
Baja, ban Yahawada, ban Yasharala.
Yahba Shem Yashabrakta.
Yahba Shem Yashabrakta. Right there.
Oh, come, sir.
Yeah, Shimon.
Set that up for me real quick.
All right, this week we're picking up at 2 Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 39 in the Hebrew. Make sure you read along with us in the Hebrew so you can get familiarized with the language, at least reading. All right. You got it, Elijah?
Yeah, I said that. You want me to start?
Okay. Verse 39.
Yakan Washamayth, Man Hasham Shamyam, Mama Kawan, Shabaska, Av Tapalatham, Wav Takanatham, Wa Aishaya, Mashapatam, Wasalakath, Laimak, Ashar, Kata'a, Laka, Aita, Alahaya, Yahayoa, Na, Ayan Yaka, Patakwa, Azan Yaka, Kwashabwa, Lata Pala, Ha Makwawam, Hazar 41. Wa'aita, Kwawama, Yahweh, Alahayim, Lana wa Kap, Ata, Wa'arawan, Isaac, Kahan Yaka, Yahweh, Alahayim, Yalabashwa, Dashawa I, Wakasayad Yaka, Yashamakwa, Batawab 42, Yahweh Alahayim al Dashab, Panya, Mashayak Yaka, Zakara, La Kasadia, Dawayad, Ibaka. For those who don't, Slaka, how many more verses?
3 more. 1, 2, 3, 7. And what was you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say for those who try to say Mashayak isn't in the Hebrew, I just found it here in verse 42. Isn't in the Old Testament. I just found it here in 32.
Sign Christ.
So, 7 and 1.
Which means anointed.
Right. So, Kakalwath, Shalama, Laha Tapawal, Wahaash, Yarada, Mahashamyam, Wata'akal, Ha'ila, Wahazabakyam, Wakabawad, Yahweh, Malah, Af, Habayaf, Wala'a, Kalwa, Ha-Kahanyam, Labawa, Al-Bayaf, Yahweh, Kaya, Mala'a, Kabawad, Yahweh, Af, Bayaf, Yahweh, Wakal, Banya.
Beside the.
Sorry, 3. Verse 3, Wakal, Banya, Yashrala, Ra'ayam, Baradaf, Ha'ash, Wakabawad, Yahweh, Io, Habayaf, Wayakaraiwa, Apayam, Arataza, Io, Haratazappa, Wayashatak, Wawa, Wahawad, Waf, La Yahweh, Kaya, Tuwa, Kaya, La I, Walam, Kasadwa. That's it. Oh, you want me to do the English? 39. Then hear thou from the heavens, even from thy dwelling place, their prayer and their supplication. Okay, and their supplications, and maintain their cause, and forgive thy people which have sinned against thee. 40. Now in my power let I beseech thee, thine eyes be open, and let thine ears be attent unto the prayer that is made in this place. Now therefore arise, O power, O most high power, into thy resting place, thou in the ark of thy strength. Let thy priests, O power, O most high power, be clothed with salvation, and let thy saints rejoice in goodness. 42. O most high power, turn not away the face of thine anointed. Remember the mercies of David thy servant.
All right, this is basically Solomon, praying to the Most High. When you read the earlier verses, it talks about the children of Israel sinning, and if they return, Solomon is asking that the Most High, restore power unto Israel, and that's basically what Solomon is doing here. Keep going. Go ahead.
If I may, he's also this is the grand opening of the first temple.
Right.
Which is why he's saying this. He's letting everybody know how the temple is supposed to function. When you have a problem, you come here. That's why even today, even though we physically do not have it, we still pray to the location of that it used to be in.
Right.
Okay? But that's how powerful these words were when it was really spoken. That even the place, even though that building had been destroyed thousands of years ago, rebuilt, and then destroyed thousands of years ago, the Most High still stands by that place. No, what is that? No different than this nation. What's called, can these dry bones live? Dry bones mean, like, if you ever know anything about mortuary work, like a body, if you go like 5 years after a body's dead, there's liquid inside the casket from all the what's called. But if it's dry bones, that means that body's been there for 20 plus years probably. And it's basically brittle. There's no hope for that body coming back. But yet and still, these dry bones shall live. And he's saying, through these prayers that we give to Jerusalem and we give in honor of that temple, these dry bones shall live, and this temple shall be rebuilt. Come. Verse 7 and 1. Now when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Most High filled the house. 2. And the priest could not enter into the house of the Most High, because the glory of the Most High had filled the Most High's house. 3. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down and the glory of the Most High upon the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement and worshiped and praised the Most High, saying, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever.
And today, when we look at these things, we look at it like, damn, it's a miracle. And we forgot what type of people we are. We forgot we are God's chosen people. And right now, the only reason we're not experiencing certain things is because we're not serving the Most High. We have created a wall, like it says in Isaiah 59. It's not that the Most High's hand is short, that he cannot show us his power, he cannot rescue us, but our sin separate us from the Most High. This is why when we're reading certain things in the scriptures, we're like, man, there's no way that happened. There's no way that, Moses got us out of Egypt by splitting the sea. Like there's no way that happened. We don't believe in these miracles because we have been separated from the Most High power because of our sins. But it is nothing for the Most High to do these miracles, and they are happening right now as we speak. The destruction of our enemies. 7 and 4.
Come,
Yeah, John. 4. YAHANNA.
I'll take that one.
Okay, come.
7.
I'm
Toa.
Yeah, Toa. Yeah, I'm Toa for right now.
2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 4. Wahamalak, Wakal, Ha'ain, Zabakayam, Zabak, Lapanya, Yahweh, verse 5. Waya Zabak, Hamalak, Shalama, Af, Zabak, Habakwa, I Sharayam, Wa Shanyam, Allah, Wataza, Ma'a, Wa I Sharayam, Allah, Waya Kanakwa, Af, Bayaf, Ha Alahayam, Hamalak, Wakal, Ha'ain, verse 6. Waha Kahanyam, Al, Mashama Ra Watham, I Madiam, Waha Lawayam, Bakalia, Shaya, Yahweh, Ashar, Aisha, Dawayada, Hamalak, Laha, Dawaf, La Yahweh, Kaya, La I Walam, Kasadwa, Bahalala, Dawayada.
Salam, for those who don't know, Kasad is mercy. Salam.
No, that's right. And also could be loyalty.
John.
Bayadam, Waha Kahanyam. Kahan is priest, so Kahanyam is the priest, bro.
Right. Salam, if I may. For those who don't know, these Jewish people like to steal a lot of our names and all that. Any white person you ever see call themselves Cohen, like Cohen's Optical, the glasses place, yeah, they're calling themselves a Levite. I'm just letting y'all know that now. Like I never knew that. Like yeah, they pronounce it Cohen, but it's Cohen, which would be Cohen. Same as Cohen.
Maka Tazarayam, Maka Tazarayam, Napadam, Wakal, Yasharala, I Madiam, verse 7. Waya Kwadash, Shalama, Af, Tawad, Haka Tazara, Ashar, Lapanya, Bayaf, Yahweh, Kaya, Aisha, Sham, Ha-I, Lawaf, Wa'af, Kaladia, Ha-Shalamayam, Kaya, Mazaba, Ha-Nakashaf, Ashar, Aisha, Shalama, La'a, Yakawal, Laha Kayal, Af, Ha'aila'a, Wa'af, Hamanaka'a, Wa'af, Ha-Kalabayam, verse 8. Waya Shalama, Af, Hakag, that's feast. And we are celebrating the feast that we have coming up, which is the Passover, April 15th.
That's right.
Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Right.
Middle of verse 8. Ba'aith Ya'ah Shabbat. You know, Shabbat is the Sabbath. Shabbat is 7. Yamayam Wakal Yasharala Imawa Kwahal Gadawal Ma'ad Malabawa Kamath Aid Nakal Matazarayam. Verse 9. Waya Aisha Showa Bayawam Ha Shamayanya I Tazaraf Kaya Kanakath Ha Ma Zabah Aishawa Shaba'if Yamayam Wahakad Shaba'if Yamayam. Verse 10.
Last verse, sir. Salaki.
Come. 10 is the last verse?
Come.
Waba Yawam I Sharayam Wa Shalasha Lakadash, I like it. Lakadash Ha Shaba Ya'aya Shalak Af Ha'aim La'a Hala Yaham Shama Kayam Watawa Baya Lab Al Hatawa Ba Ashar Aisha Yahweh La Dawayada. All right, La Dawayada is another name. It's like a derivative of David's name. Dawada, La Dawayada. Wala Shalama Wala Yasharala Imawa. In English. Verse 4.
In the English, for then the king and all the people offered sacrifices before the Most High, and made. Oh, Salaki. I'm reading backwards.
No, you're right. 7 and 4.
No, I went over here.
Oh, well, you're right here.
Yeah, kind of finished up. 5, and King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 20 and 2,000 oxen and 120,000 sheep. So the king and all the people dedicated the house of the Most High. And the priests waited on their offices, the Levites also with instruments of music of the Most High, which David the king had made to praise the Most High, because his mercy endureth forever. When David praised by their ministry.
And real quick, right? And this is very key here. Endurance. And it says here, the Most High's mercy endureth forever. If the Most High mercy did not endure forever, we would not still be his people. We are still the Most High's people because his mercy endureth forever. And this is what we have to embody as a people. We have to embody endurance. We can't come in the truth and then leave the truth 2 months later.
Right.
Can't come in the truth and leave the truth 2 years later.
Right.
Yeah, you can't come in the truth and leave the truth 20 years later.
Right.
Men in General YAHANNA have been at this for 40 years plus. And he has endured, and he is still enduring. And this is key for us as a people. We have to endure because the Most High's mercy endureth forever. If not, we will not be his people still.
Right.
So when you come in this truth, make sure you gird up your loins to endure. All right? Keep going. Keep going.
And the priests with Salakia sounded trumpets before them, and all Israel stood. 7. Moreover, Solomon hollowed the middle of the court that was before the house of the Most High, for there he offered burnt offerings and the fat of the peace offerings, because the brazen altar which Solomon had made was not able to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat. 8. Also at the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all of Israel with him, a very great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt. And in the 8th day they made a solemn assembly, for they kept the dedication of the altar 7 days, and the feast 7 days. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in heart, for the goodness that the Most High had showed unto David and to Solomon and to Israel his people.
And that was a glorious thing.
Right.
And that was a glorious thing to get back into power, to get in a position where you don't depend from other nations. And what we're going to read further, you're going to see how the heathens were the ones serving us, doing all the dirty works. We're gonna get to that. You just read verse 10?
Yeah.
All right, pick up in verse 11.
Come, sir.
And this is what we have to strive for. We have to strive not to get the crumbs of this society. Like a lot of our people, especially with the opening of the stock market, because there was a time our people, we were not invested in the stock market like that because we were kept out of it. And now we have better opportunity to invest in the stock market, invest in cryptocurrency. And a lot of times we put our mind, we put our whole soul into money because we are getting money like we've never got money before. We think that is life. Have you ever looked at a dollar bill? It's your oppressor on there. So no matter how much money you get, it don't mean nothing because you're getting the money in our oppressor's world. How about we strive for rulership?
That's right.
How about we strive that they need a paper that have your face in it?
Right.
As opposed to you worshiping this money that have an oppressor on it. Keep going.
Con 11. Vayakal Shalama Ath Bayath Yahweh Allah Ath Bayath Hamalak Wa'ath Kal Haba'a Ayo Laba Shalama.
We said the verses.
Con, sir. La Aishawath Bakayath Yahweh Wa Baba Yahweh Ha Tazalayak 12 Y Yara Yahweh.
You say 12?
Yeah, Con. Y Yara Yahweh.
You're picking up at 7 and 5, 7 and 4.
No, you did it. You did to 10. Remember?
I did. We
You
did
did 4 to
English.
10.
Come.
Yeah, come.
Salaki.
Come, you good. Wa Yara Yahweh Al Shalama Balayala Wa Ya'amar Lawa Shamaithya Ath Tapalathka Wa Bakarathya Bamakwam.
I think we're moving fast. This is the third set, right?
Yeah, come. Makwam Hazalaya Labayath Zabak 13 Hazar Aitazar Hashamyam Wala'a Yahaya Matar Wahan Atazawa Ayo Hagab La Akawal Ha Arataza Wa'am Ashalak Dabar Ba'imya 14 Wayakanaiwa Imaya Ashar Nakwara Shamya Al Yaham Waya Tapalawa Yaka Waya Bakwashwa Panya Waya Shabwa Madarak Yam Harayam Wa'anya Ashamai Man Hashamyam Wa'asalak La Kata Atham Wa'arapa Ath Aratazam 15 Aita Ayanya Yahayawa Patakwath Wa'azanya Washab Waf, La Taqalaf, Ha Makwawam, Haza 16, Wa'aita, Bakarathya, Waha Kwadashafya, Ab, Habaya, Haza, Lahayawaf, Shamya, Sham, Ilam, Wahayawa, Ayanya, Walabaya, Sham, Kal, Hayam, 17, Wa'ata, Talak, Lapanya, Kashar, Halak, Dawayad, Abayaka, Wala'ai Shawaf, Kakal, Ashar, Tazawayat, Yaka, Khan, Wakakya, Mashapya, Mashapatya, Salakia, Dashamwar. Good English? Okay. 11. Thus Solomon finished the house of the Most High and the king's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Most High, and in his own house he prosperously effected. And the Most High appeared to Solomon by night and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer, and have chosen this place to myself for an house of sacrifice. 13, if I shut up heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, 14, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
This is a bedrock U.P.K scripture that we always tell our people. 2 Chronicles 7:14. That should always be in the back of your mind. How we get out of oppression. Because the Most High tell us, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, we gotta humble ourselves, and we be reminded of who we are, and realize that we have not been living according to what God prescribed us, according to the laws, according to the constitution that was prescribed to us. We have been living as heathens. And once we can realize that and humble ourselves and return to the Most High, then the Most High will heal our land.
That's right.
Will heal us and put us back into that glorious state where other nations are serving us and we are not serving them, because we are above them. All right, keep going.
Come, sir.
Yashawan,
Come, sir.
Baba Kashar. Take care of this for me now.
Yeah.
And trumpet as well.
Come,
And we'll hear the
Now mine eye, 15, now mine eyes shall be open and mine ears attend unto the prayer that is made in this place. 16, for now I have chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever, and mine eyes and mine heart shall be there perpetually. If I may, verse 15, like that lets you know that there is only one place, like, and this is so stupid because you don't realize there's only one place, right, that you can go to have your prayer heard. Like an Israelite who tried to be like against Solomon or create their own Israelite group during the time of Solomon was not taken seriously by the Most High God. Okay, and you think there weren't, like, y'all think that this is something magical or special? Like, nah, there were fake Israelites during the time of Solomon. There were fake Israelites during the time of Samuel. There'll always be captive until Christ returns. But the thing about it is that what you need to understand is, let me read it again. Now mine eyes shall be open and mine ears attend unto the prayer that is made in this place. If you're not inside of this place, your prayer isn't heard. This is Jerusalem.
Right. And real quick, Israelites arose against Moses to kill Moses.
Oh, come on.
You go back in Numbers, I believe, chapter 16. Israelites arose against Moses. So who are you today? Are you a brother that will follow Moses? Or are you one of the brothers that would have went against Moses? Because the Lord was with Moses, and even though the Lord was with Moses, can you imagine, after we got out of Egypt, and there were Israelites that wanted to go back to Egypt. They wanted to go back to eat the bones of the oppressors, to eat the crumbs of the oppressors. because they could not endure in the wilderness, which goes back with what we were saying earlier. Endurance is very key.
Lucky, sir, if I may. It's just like when we was trying to escape the plantations. You had some house niggas that wanted to go back.
Right.
When Harriet Tubman came down, they wanted to go back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the end of us. They were stiff-necked people. Like, you understand what freedom is, what it means to have it, sir.
Come. Yeah.
Yeah, Khan. So that's basically it. This is the home of the truth. This is where the Most High resides. This is where you go to have your prayers actually answered. And to piggyback off what he said, they weren't necessarily against Moses because Moses had a speech impediment, which is actually true. They weren't against him because of his heathen wife, right? They were against him simply because who said you're the boss? That's it. That is literally the reason for the rebellion. Who said Moses is in charge? Khan.
Mosiah.
No, okay, we know that, but that's the gist of their argument. Their entire argument is who says you're the boss?
Like who the hell are you? Like the spirit is like who the hell are you to be above us? Like,
Right. Khan.
Salaki, so if I may, and they also made that comment when Moses did, you know what I'm saying, did that thing against the Egyptian. Say, who's this guy that you know what I mean, that killed, you know, that killed his man?
Right, right. But now here's what you need to really understand about it is that, like, what do they say about us? Who put us in charge? Who made us do what's called the Israel? We all have a spiritual connection with God, so on and so forth. And now, honestly, looking at it from an outsider's perspective, yeah, I'm the boss now, and my brother's second under me. And if you're my cousin, like my tribe, yeah, we're the police now. I mean, Salakia, that do sound a little like you the boss, your brother's second in charge, your sister happens to be a prophet, and now your entire tribe is the police.
right.
I mean, yeah, I kind of would look that a little, but the nigga single-handedly freed us. You know what single-handedly freed us? The men of the I.S.U.P.K.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Like, there would be no Facebook, no YouTube, no Instagram, as we as Israelites know it, if it not had been for the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Like that sister who came on across the line like a month or two ago, talking about, like, I've been waiting for this my whole life. Yeah. I was born into this, knowing this and being aware of my true heritage, like where we came from. Like the sister was talking about how she came from Africa. Right. Where her peoples came from in Africa. They were one of the few that could trace their lineage and say, yeah, we know for what we're Israelites. Right. And we've been waiting for our people to wake up to this knowledge as well. And yeah, the UPK answered her prayers. That's right. Not every fake faggot with a Salakia, every homosexual with their mama's bed sheets on. Right. Come, Salakia, we gotta finish this verse up. Huh? Yeah, come. And as for thee, this last verse, if thou wilt walk before me as David thy father will, and do according to all that I have commanded thee, and shall observe my statutes and my judgments. Yeah, come. That was verse 17.
All right. Yasharam. Call officer Shagapan.
Come, sir. I just see the message.
God. All right. We're picking up from 2 Chronicles chapter 7 and verse 18.
Come.
In the Hebrew. Waha Kwaya Mawafia Ath Kasa'a Malaka Wathad Ka'ashar Karathia La Dawayada Abayat La Amal La Ya Karath Lak Ayash Mawashal Baya Sharala 19 Wa'am Tashawa Ba 1 Atham Wa'ai Zabatham
Kwawafia, Wama Tazawafia, Ashar, Na Thaya, Lapanya Kam, Waha Lakatham, Wa'ai Bad Thum, Alahayam, Karayam, Wa Hashaf, Kawayatham, La'am 20, Wa Nath Shathayam, Ma'il, Adamathya, Ashar, Na Tathaya, Laham, Wa'af, Ha Bayath, Hazar, Ashar, Hakwa Dash Thaya, Lashamya, Ashalayak, Ma'il, Panya, Wa'atha Nanawa, Lama Shaw, Wala Shanayan, Wala Shana Yana, Bakal, Ha'aimayam 21, Wa'a Bayaf, Hazar, Ashar, Haya'a, Laya 1, Lakal, Ibar, Layawa, Yasham, Wa'amar, Bama, Aisha, Yahweh, Kaka, La'arataza, Haza'af, Wala Bayaf, Hazar 22, Wa'amara, Al, Ashar, Aizabawa, Af, Yahweh, Alahaya, Abathayaham, Ashar, Hawa Tazayam, Ma'arataza, Matazarayam, Wayaka Zayakwa, Ba'alahayam, Akarayam, Waya Shatha Kawawa, Laham, Waya I Badwam, Al Khan, Habaya, Layaham, Af, Kal, Haraiah, Haza'af. That's the last verse in the chapter, right?
You have time. Two more verses. 1 and 2.
We in 2 Chronicles chapter 8, verse 1. Wayahaya Makwataza Sharayam Shana Ashar Bana Shalama Ah Bayaf Yahweh.
So, you want to figure
What?
that? Yeah. That's not small.
Go. Yahweh Wa'af Bayathawa, verse 2. Wa'ai Rayam Ashar Nathan Kawaram Lashalama Bana Shalama Atham Wayawashab Sham Af Banya Yasharala.
Okay, in the English, start at verse 18. Then will I establish the throne of thy kingdom according as I have covenanted with David.
Keep going.
With David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man to be ruler in Israel. 19. But if ye turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, which I have set before you, and shall go and serve other gods and worship them. 20. Then will I pluck them up by the roots out of my land, which I have given them.
Stop right there. And you see what happened to us for thousands of years.
Right.
We had not have a ruler. We had not have a ruler. Why? Because we sinned against the Most High. So the Most High plucked them out until 1969. In 1969, this is when the truth came back in the Israelite community. Because prior to that, even the people who were looking in the Bible, not in a Christian way, they were looking at it in a Jewish way. They were looking to the oppressor, the Jewish man, to teach them the Bible. How you gonna go to the imposter to teach you the Bible?
Right.
Like the imposter gonna teach you that you're the children of Israel. Now he's gonna teach you that he's the chosen people, and you can be grafted in.
Oh God.
All right, and that's what happened. Our leaders got plucked out. This is why we say Barak Atah Yahweh YAHANNA commanded General YAHANNA.
That's right.
Because for hundreds of years we had not have a ruler. We had not have somebody that cares about Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
All the so-called organization that came out in the early 20s, the late 1800s, these people, most of them were sellouts. The W.E. Du Bois, the Marcus Garvey, we about to have a lecture on the second, Pan-Africanism or the Bible.
That's right.
And what you're gonna learn is that a lot of these leaders from the Pan-Africanism movement, from the Black world, they were sellouts. A very famous one was what was his name? Martin Luther King.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Big sellout, but our people look up to him as if he's a king anointed by the Most High.
Right.
Well, it's not anointed by the Lord. Commanded General YAHANNA is.
That's right.
All right, keep going.
If I may, sure. So you think back on what the brother's saying, was saying so heavy about the Jewish man, like, understand, like, that's no different than Christianity. Judaism is no different than Christianity. By Judaism, I mean the religion that Amalek or the Ashkenazi or even the Sephardic created based off our culture. Understand, always understand, regardless of the fact that we have a God or there is a deity at the height of our culture, we are not a religion. This is a culture. You cannot, like, a religion didn't tell me to put gold in didn't tell my people to put gold in their teeth. You wiped out my people's culture and we still do it. Like, this is my way of life.
Right.
Like, you understand that? And they made a culture out of my way of life. The reason I'm saying it's no different than Christianity is because what the brother was explaining, he was explaining like basically, what's it called? They tell you that you can be grafted in, which is no different than Christianity. Jesus loves you. Jesus is a white man, so obviously he's the pinnacle of white society. But don't worry, nigga, you can get a little love too. Just pick this cotton.
Right.
That's slavery. That's literally how slavery worked. You're a evil monkey. You're the bottom of society, but yet and still Jesus loves you, and you can have the glory of Jesus. So long as you shut up, pick this cotton, and call me master. No different than the Jewish man. Shut up and bow your head on this, what's it called, and Yahweh will give a damn about you.
Right. Keep going with that scripture.
John. Then, 20, then will I pluck them up by the roots out of my land which I have given them, and this house which I have sanctified for my name will I cast out of my sight, and will make it to be a proverb and a byword among all nations. Now I'm going to just, so y'all have a better understanding of that. I find it very funny that we don't have a wonder as a nation, but I don't find it funny because no one likes us.
Right.
More than likely, y'all have heard the wonders of the world. More than likely, Solomon's, if we weren't as hated, because some people probably, one of the problems is that people probably try to say, prove it even existed. So what's it called? More than likely, it'd be considered a wonder of the world if the white man would even respect us enough. So what's it called? That's what it means by a proverb and a byword. Like, because that was a worldwide that was a worldwide endeavor. That was a worldwide. What's another way to say like an financial endeavor?
Accomplishment.
Yeah, right. Meaning Solomon had to go get the finest gold from Euphaz. He had to get the finest timber from this place. He was a worldwide. He paid top dollar for every brick inside of that temple.
Right.
To get top quality.
Right. So once it's destroyed, people would talk about it years later. Yo, you know Solomon's temple, that was the richest place on earth. Like the Garden of Zeus or something like that. That's one of the wonders. Or I think the Tower of Pisa is one, and I think the Great Pyramid is another. These are just great structures that either they're luxuriously rich in their time or even today, or like in the case of the Tower of Pisa, how the hell is this thing even possible? So that's basically what it is. Okay, verse 21, and this house which is high shall be an astonishment to everyone that passeth by it, so that he shall say, why hath the Most High done thus unto this land and unto this house? 22, and it shall be answered, because they forsook the Most High power of their fathers, which brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, and laid hold on other gods, and worshipped them and served them. Therefore hath he brought all this evil upon them. 8, and it came to pass at the end of 20 years, wherein Solomon had built the house of the Most High and his own house, that the cities which Huram had restored to Solomon, Solomon built them and caused the children of Israel to dwell there.
That's the last verse.
Yeah, kind of.
Picking up at 9.
8 and 3, right?
8 and 3.
Yeah, kind of. 3. Why y'all?
Young man Brian.
Come on.
Salaki Yahshua, bring the chair back, sir.
Come, sir.
That's the 5th set or 4th?
This is the 5th, I believe.
5th.
It says, come down.
All right.
State your registry.
Repeat it for me again, sir.
What's your name?
Young man Brian.
Where you from?
Young man Brian from the tribe of Judah, from the tribe of Israel.
All right. You want to say young man Brian, Bun?
Bun. Young man Brian, Bun Yehuda,
Bun Yahawada.
Bun Yasharal.
All right, one more time. Let's go.
Young man Brian, Bun Yehuda, Bun Yasharal.
Young man Brian, Bun Yahawada, Bun Yasharala.
Young man Brian, Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Brakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah. Shabia? You know what we need?
Yeah, coasters. Should be on the side.
Wait, what y'all looking for?
Coasters. The
Oh,
coasters.
Coast is right there.
Not
Oh,
the metal.
Oh, God.
But it's hot though. So.
Yeah, careful.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Abaji.
Okay, this is verse 3. This is what we I'll let you, because this is better. YAHANNA, SHALAM, HAMA. Wait, Salakia, Kama, Taza Waba. Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's too small for you guys. Yeah. John, I'm going to just keep going. Kama, Taza Waba. Waya Kazak, Alya. 4. Wayaban, Af, Tadamar, Bamadabar, Wa'af, Kal, Iraya, Hamasaka, Waf, Ashar, Bana, Bakama, Wayaban, Af, Baya, Kawarwan, Ilayawan, Wa'af, Baya, Kawarwan, Hataka1, Iraya, Matazawar, Kawamwa, Dalath Yum, Wabaryak.
You're in 8 and 4.
Yeah, Khan.
You still in 4?
No, I'm in 6 now.
6. All right, recite the verses, all right? So
Come.
brothers can follow along.
Verse 6. Wa'af, Ba'ilaf, Wa'af, Kal Iraya, Ha Masakan Wa, Ashar, Ha Yawa, La Shalama, Wa'af, Kal Iraya, Ha Rakab, Wa'af, Iraya, Ha Parashyam, Wa'af, Kal Ha Shak, Shalama, Ashar, Kashak, Labanwa, Yaroshalam. Yaroshalam is Jerusalem, city of peace. That's what it translates to. Wa Balaban Wana, Salakia, Wa Balaban one, Wa Bakal, Arataza, Mama Shalathwa, Kal, Hain,
Verse 7.
sorry, verse 7. Kal Hain, Ha Nawathar, Man, Ha Ka Uya, Waha Amaria, Waha Parazya, Waha Wahak Waya, Waha Yab Wasya, Waha Yab Wasaya. Ashar La'a Mayashrala Hama 8 Man Banayam Ashar Nawatar Akar Yam Ba'arataza Ashar La'a Kalwam Banya Yashrala Wayayilam Shalama Lamas Aid Hayawam Hazar 9 Waman Banya Khan. 8 was the last verse?
9 is the last verse.
Okay, just making sure. Khan. Waman Banya Yasharala Ashar La'a Nathan Shalama La'ai Badyam La Mala'akathwa Kaya Hama Anashia Malakama Washarya Shalayash Yawa Washarya Rakabwa,
Regular sword.
Wa Parash Yua. All right.
8 and what, 4?
3, bro.
3, come.
3, sir. Salakia.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's the second book of Chronicles, chapter 8 and verse 3. And Solomon went to Hamath and prevailed against it. And he built Tadmor in the wilderness.
Salakia. If I may.
Okay, now.
There's what's called for confusion. This confuses people. We, like, a lot of people don't understand the type of man Solomon was. Like, because a lot of people think Solomon never killed nobody. First off, Solomon's first order of business was, well, mind you, this was an order that was given down from David. Right. But I'm going to just explain exactly what David told him to do, because what's it called? Kill your brother, kill your cousin. That is literally his first order of business. Your cousin wanted to kill your brother, and then disobey a few other orders I gave him. So that nigga's out. I've been said, like, before you even born, I will refuse to let that man die of old age. And right. David literally said that about Pharaoh. Your brother thinks it's cool to try to put himself on the throne, even though I'm still alive, and ain't said nothing like that. So kill him too. Then I think Solomon was going to give him mercy until he was stupid enough. He waited until David died to say, can I have our stepmother? No sweat, you die now too. That's how he gave it up. And then people think because of his name and the prophecy that you won't have war during Israel. People used to knock on David's door, on the front door of our nation, and say, come out here because we want to kill y'all. And David would have to come outside with the army and show them that's a bad idea for you.
That's right.
The Most High promised David, no one will ever knock on Solomon's door. That's not saying Solomon won't look out his window and say, that nigga got some nice shit. Matter of fact, you're a homosexual. I know God don't like him. Let me go steal that. Right. Homosexuals shouldn't be living over there. And if Solomon went and go took it. Solomon prevailed. There's the difference. No one's going to attack your son. He'll have peace. No one's going to touch his gangster. But that doesn't mean he won't go out touching other people's gangsters.
That's
How it come?
Count, and that's what that basically is.
All right. This is 2 Chronicles chapter 8 and verse 4 from the top. And he built Tadmor in the wilderness, and all the store cities which he built in Hamath. Verse 5. Also he built Beth-horon, the upper, and Beth-horon, the nether. The nether.
Like Netherlands.
Fenced cities with walls, gates, and bars.
Right.
Verse 6. And Baalak, and all the store cities that Solomon had, and all the chariot cities, and the cities of the horsemen.
Stop right there. So what you are seeing here is power,
Right.
which we are far removed from.
Right.
We think power is having a gold chain. We think power is having a Maserati.
Right.
We're talking about cities, store cities, some cities with chariots. As we could see our oppressors today, they have what they call it, Area 50, Area 51.
Right.
They got areas where it's nothing but military armor,
Right.
trucks. Like they
Right.
got cities for that, for weapons, storehouses. We don't know what that's like today.
Right.
We think Jay-Z is powerful and rich.
Right.
Jay-Z is getting nothing but a crumb in this society.
If I may.
Yeah, get that.
He owned probably about 2% of Barclays. That's how powerful Jay-Z is. 2%.
Right.
He understand it this way. He didn't lose that ownership, because he was running out of money. He saw it as a better opportunity to just leave. Because at the end of the day, when you're selling money into a company like that or a business endeavor like that, you have to pay money. Jay-Z ain't got it like that. I might as well get what I can, take what I can out now, and put my money in the sports agents. That's more money on his end. But the Russians who actually own Barclays, which is an interesting thing now that you think about it, because the Russians own Barclays. They're making all the money because they have the capital. We don't have capital, which is something we're not taught to think about. Concept.
You guys gonna say something, brothers?
Oh no, because what you was saying about the military places over this country, and usually those military places covers like states,
Right.
like big like states, and
Right.
just be a military base
Exactly.
Really?
with arms.
To put that in perspective for you, right? You see what's going on in the news right now. That is power. That's a man that's going in Ukraine and say, you know what? We're not gonna allow this country to be part of NATO because they right in our backyard. We're gonna take over. That's power. And we are far removed from that.
Right.
Because we're looking to the crumbs of society, man. And this is why the I.S.U.P.K, I got you, Yashua. This is why the I.S.U.P.K is imperative, man. We are imperative because we are here to give you back your spirit. So you know, no matter how much money you get in this society, you are still a slave. Money is not going to free you. The truth will free you. This is why in the I.S.U.P.K we are free, even though we're not rich. We're not richer than Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not free than us.
Right.
We are free in the UPK because we know what true power is.
Right.
Get down, Yashua.
Concert, Minister, is what you're saying is so heavy that we're so lost as a people that we're fighting over crumbs. Like out on the street right now in the world, we're fighting over blocks that don't belong to us. We pay rent to the so-called fake Jewish man. That's his block. You know what I'm saying? We be running over people calling, well, you're outsider. No, we're outside on his block. That's how lost we are, fighting over crumbs, taking his power, sir. What you're saying is so heavy, sir. We got to get out of that mindset, come back to the Most High God. Sir.
That's
Right.
right. Let's keep going.
Picking up from the middle of verse 6. And all that Solomon desired to build in Jerusalem and in Lebanon and throughout all the land of his dominion. Verse 7. As for all the people that were left of the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, which were not of Israel.
These are all the people that the Most High commended us not to mix among them.
Right.
Do not take their daughters and do not give your son to their daughter. Don't mix them with these people. Because these people, they are not of your family.
Right.
They're not flesh of your flesh, bones of your bones. Keep going.
Verse 8. But of their children who were left after them in the land, whom the children of Israel consumed not, then did Solomon make to pay tribute until this day.
All right, they didn't become our slave, well, you're gonna pay tribute.
Right.
You're gonna pay tithes to Commander General YAHANNA.
That's right.
All right. Oh, you Russian? All right. You're gonna kiss our boots and you're gonna put your money in the bucket.
Right.
Right.
And this is just a preview of what is to come.
And if I may,
Get that.
like, understand, like, the reason it was tribute and not necessarily full-on slavery is because we got enough people. As I stated earlier, people wanted to test David's gangster. Y'all gonna build the temple.
That's right.
And people don't realize the Most High works in mysterious ways. I know this nigga's gonna ask me to build this temple. I know I'm gonna need some niggas to build the temple. Yo, go to Edom. Go touch David's gangster. David's person, go fight him. Go fight him. Get your ass with. Now you're a slave. Get ready to build this temple.
Right.
Amen. Go see David. He's pussy. I'm telling you. He just got beat by his own son. Thank you. Now you're a slave. And rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Now I have enough slaves. Y'all gonna get my gold. Y'all gonna do all the pottery work. Y'all gonna make all the ornaments. Y'all gonna do the bricklaying. And what's it called? I'll just have the Africans pay taxes.
Right.
That's how the kingdom's gonna work. Like, y'all think it's an accident. Who do you think is telling that Asian to beat your sister inside the beauty salon? The Most High wants Asians to build the temple of the Lord.
Right.
That's right.
He doesn't want a Hawaiian to do it. So he's telling the Hawaiians, you probably don't want to mess with blacks and Hispanics.
Right.
But the white man, yeah, but Eric Garner's killer, yeah, you choke that black man out. I got plans for you in 20 years.
Right.
Keep going.
John.
Yes, sir. Verse 9.
Last verse. Allah.
But of the children,
The coat.
Keep going.
Just go.
verse 9. But of the children of Israel did Solomon make no servants for his work, but they were men of war, and chief of his captains, and captains of his chariots and horsemen.
All right. So Solomon, he didn't take no servant from the children of Israel. He took the heathen for servant and make them pay tribute.
Oh God.
But his people, he made them chief. He made them captains.
Right.
He made them horsemen. And this is power. We don't know what that's like today.
Right.
This is basically the oppressor having black people in his army. That's what this is synonymous to. This is power here. But we're not gonna have the heathens in our army. We're gonna have them serve us.
That's
We're
right.
gonna take our own brothers in the army because we don't want no heathen next to us to go to war with us.
Right.
That's right.
Keep going.
Verse 9 was the last verse, right?
God, sir.
I badge you.
John, you want me to take the?
Go.
All right. You want to call somebody else up or?
Oh, come. Imagine.
How y'all?
See your registry.
Hayala, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasharala.
Hayala, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasharala.
Yahawah Shemiah Shak Rakatha.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Yashabia or Yashabia. Yeah, that's right.
This is verse 10. Right? Yeah, this verse 10 right here. Wa Allah Sharia Hana Tazayab Yum Ashar La Malak Shalama Kamash Yum Wa Ma'af Yum Salami Wa Ma'af Yum Harad Yum Ba'ain 11 Wa'af Ba'af Parai Ha'ila Shalama Ma'ayar Dawayad Labayat Ashar Bana La Kaya Amar La Tashab Ashar Laya. Wait, it's Laya. That's Laya, right? Because it's messed up on mine.
No, it is. Like,
Okay. Babaya. What? It's like here. Dawayada, Malak, Yasharala, Kaya, Quadash, Hama, Ashar, Ba'a, Alayam, Alayaham, Arawan, Yahweh. 12, Azar, Ha'ila, Shalama, Ilwath, La Yahweh, Il, Mazabak, Yahweh, Ashar, Bana, Lapanya, Ha'awalam, Wa Badabar, Yawam, Bayawam, Laha Ilawath, Kamatazawath, Masha, La Shabathwath, Wa Lakadash Yam, Wa Lama Wa Idawath, Shalawash, Pa'im Yam, Ba'ashana, Bakab, Ha Matazawath, Wa Bakab, Ha Shabai Wath, Wa Bakab, Ha Sakawath, 14, Wa Ya'imad, Kama Shapat, Dawayada, Abayua, Makalakwa, Ha Kahanyam, Io, Ibad Badathum, Wahal, Wayam, Io, Mashamar Watham, La Halal, Wa La Sharaf, Nagad, Ha Kahanyam, La Dabar Yawam, Bayawam, Waha Shirayam, Bamakal Lakwatham, La Shire, Wa Shire, Kaya Kun, Matazawath, Dawayada, Ayash, Ha Alahayam. 15, Wala'a, Sarwa, Matazawath, Ha Malak, Io, Ha Kahanyam, Wahalawayam, Lakal, Dabar, Wala Tazarwath, 16, Wa
Last
the
verse.
Khan, Kal, Malakath, Shalama, I Ha Yawam, Mawasad, Baya Yahweh, Wa'id Kalathwa, Shalom, Baya Yahweh.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 8, verse 10. And these were the chief of King Solomon's officers, even 250, that bear rule over the people. Verse 11. And Solomon brought up the daughter of Pharaoh out of the city of David unto the house that he had built for her. And he said, my wife shall not dwell in the house of David, king of Israel, because the places are holy, whereunto the ark of the Lord hath come.
Stop. Can I just say something?
Go ahead, you know.
That let me just. I'm not gonna bring my cigarettes into school because I know the cigarettes are wrong. Still smoking cigarettes, you realize that, right?
Cons.
What am I also saying in that sentence?
If I may, sir,
Con.
you still sick.
But I just said the word W. Not gonna wrong. I'm not gonna have my wife near the temple or in David's house because that's a holy place. Meaning what? You know your wife's unholy.
Come.
Okay, this is our family, this is our house, Most High is our daddy. I don't know about you. I grew up in the house. My mother, I wasn't allowed to have white friends.
Right.
Yeah, think of it like this is your father. Or think of it like any brother. How many of y'all's father, not to bring up bad memories, how many of y'all fathers no longer with us? Okay. is there situations that you were taught from youth that you know even today not to do because this man is dead, but you know, you in your head, it's burned in to see him mad at you if you do something stupid?
Oh, God.
That's David. That's Solomon right now. He know his daddy had a lot of women, right? Some of them he shouldn't have had. You knew better than to get with a goddamn Egyptian.
Give me 1 Kings chapter 4.
Right. He knew better than to get with a goddamn Egyptian. But this shows, mind you, Solomon just had a conversation. Yeah, don't don't go around serving other gods. Right. So you're gonna marry a foreigner, which the Most High says leads to you serving other gods. That's all I have to say, sir.
No, sir. This is, if you remember last week, we spoke about basically detailing First Chronicles and Second Chronicles. It talks about the rulership of David, rulership of Solomon, and also the splitting of the kingdom. So this is where it started. It started with Solomon going outside of his family. But Solomon, we're about to learn something about Solomon. Give me that scripture. Give me verse 30.
You want verse 30, sir?
1
1 Kings chapter 4, verse 30. And Solomon wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country.
Solomon was the wisest man on the planet. That didn't mean nothing if you can't endure. Right. If you can't endure in this wisdom, going back what we were saying earlier, if you can't endure in this wisdom, what does it mean? It means nothing. We have to endure to the end. And Solomon did not endure.
Right.
He did not endure in all of that wisdom that he had that exceeded everyone in the East, that exceeded everyone on the planet. But he didn't endure in that wisdom because he knew, like Osai Baja said, he knew damn well he was not supposed to get that heathen. He knew it so well that he would not bring it to the temple. It's like you're sinning, you know what? I'm gonna smoke. It's like when you're smoking that weed, you know you ain't gonna smoke that weed inside the house because you don't want your parents to know you smoke weed. And as soon as you finish, you put all that cologne on. I remember in my days, right? I can't go back home smelling like this.
Right, you gotta
put all that. You put the toothpaste and everything. Like you gotta go back home smelling fresh because you don't want nobody to know your filthiness that you are doing.
Right.
This is why it's important for us to endure in this truth.
Right.
We can't get this truth today and then fall out tomorrow. We have to endure. Being wise, knowing all the scriptures, this is nothing. This is nothing comparing to endure in what you know is the truth. And we have to do that because brothers will come in the truth and we'll fall out tomorrow. We'll fall out next year. Commanding General YAHANNA, he has endured for decades.
Right.
4 decades. Keep going.
And
No, that's it. That's all I wanted to show. Even though he was wise, it didn't mean nothing when you're not enduring. And this is how the kingdom split. To this day, Black and Hispanics think they are 2 different people because of this sin right here. This is where it started. You know what? I'm gonna bring this heathen. I'm not gonna bring her home. I'm gonna go in a hotel with her. That's what he's doing. I'm not gonna bring that home. Let me go to the telly with that whore. Excuse my language.
Verse 12. Then Solomon offered burnt offerings unto the Lord on the altar of the Lord, which he had built before the porch. Verse 13. Even after a certain rate every day, offering according to the commandment of Moses, on the Sabbaths and on the new moons and on the Solomon feast, 3 times in the year, even in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles.
And that is to show you, what's that scripture, Abijah, when the Most High say, you don't take pleasure, I think it's in Hebrews. The Most High don't take pleasures in our sacrifices, in no, goat sacrifice, lamb sacrifice. He don't take pleasure in that. Sacrifice the Most High one, the ultimate sacrifice the Most High one is for his obedience.
right.
Is you sacrificing, desiring that Egyptian woman that looks bad to you, but she's not of your flesh. That white woman that may I don't know what brothers find in white women. I don't know. But sacrificing your flesh, that's the ultimate sacrifice that the Most High wants. So all these sacrifices that Solomon was doing, it didn't mean nothing when you bring a heathen in the hotel. Yeah,
So if I may, so you're saying the Most High wants you to fight your carnal desires.
exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, because this is the conclusion of the whole matter.
Right.
Like you say in Ecclesiastes 12:12. That's the conclusion of the whole matter. And who wrote that? Who wrote that? Solomon.
Right.
But he did not endure. Keep going.
Verse 14. And he appointed, according to the order of David, his father, the courses of the priests to their service, and the Levites to their charges, to praise and minister before the priest as the duty of every day required. The porters also by their courses at every gate. For so had David, the man of God, commanded. Verse 15. And they departed not from the commandment of the king unto the priests and Levites concerning any matter or concerning the treasurers. Concert. Verse 16.
Basically, they follow the order. All right? And this is what every man in the I.S.U.P.K does. We follow orders. Keep going.
Now all the work of Solomon was prepared unto the day of the foundation of the house of the Lord, and unto it was.
I say the Most High when you see that, right? When you see the Lord, say the Most High.
And unto it was finished. So the house of the Most High was perfected.
Oh, matter of fact, this is the last set, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something, one last thing.
Go
Like,
ahead.
basically, what you're seeing here is the industrialization of our nation. At one time, our nation was the world superpower. We were the leaders on the earth in certain aspects. But the problem is, you had our king going around having sex with heathen women. Okay, and that's why it did not last. Israel has only ever been a world superpower, I want to say maybe 70 years, probably less than that. Now, understand, our nation, you could say, is 4,000 years old, 70 years, 4,000. The Egyptians had millennia. The Babylonians around the same time period. The white man's a different story. The Bible even says his time in rulership is short. Like, honestly, yeah, you could count Greece and Rome, and that'll only be 2,000. And then you'll have to look at the Dark Ages, so you'll have to cut about 1,000 out of that. So it's really only 1,000, 1,500. But really, if you want to count America by itself, that's 500 years. 500 years, the white man was the world superpower. But our time is even shorter than that. We'll have forever, but prior to the return of Christ, that was our time. This is the only time we were ever in what's it called. And you see this industrialization inside of our nation. That's what it means by our storehouses and so on and so forth. Solomon took the reins. David did all the work to make Israel rich or make Israel a superpower, or rather a power that was respected. Before David, Israel got no respect. We went out to war with wood. After David, we had metalsmithing. We had our enemies at least respected us, and we were starting to gain friends. After David, when Solomon comes in, he takes all that and says, I'm going to invest all this money that my father made. He was about warfare. I have peace, so I'm going to use it to invest money and pay you to do this for me, pay you to do this for me. And at the end of it, Israel was very rich, which ended up causing the problem of, your father's giving us too much taxes, lower that debt. No, make it higher, which leads into Rehoboam. But this is how we got to it, John. But right when you are, sir.
Sir, I'm on you. Throughout the zone. No. See your registry?
Baratazar, Ban Yahweh, Ban Yashala.
Baratazar, Ban Yahweh, Ban Yashala.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Rakatam.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Brakathah.
If I may. Just go on what you were saying. So heavy. So the father was war, and the son was more economic. So war and economics, relationship between the father and son, sir.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was war in economics because, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily say war in economics because, like I said, and we showed in the scriptures, Solomon did go to war and Solomon did kill people. But don't think of it as mind state wise. Think of it as what the Most High wanted. Solomon could have been killing as much people as David, but I want you economical. I'm gonna give you the peace. I already did enough killing. Right, I already did what I needed to do. I got the slaves that I needed to get for the temple to be built. So at this point, I just need you to be economical. Like take money so you can build fences and wall cities and do all that. That's basically it.
Right.
And
real quick, man.
Yeah, Tom.
Under David, it was a lot of civil war among Israel. But David united the kingdom. David united Israel. So this is what Solomon inherited. But David, he had to fight Israelites to get there. Because not every Israelite want to follow Commanding General YAHANNA. Not every Israelite wanted to follow David. David went to war with a lot of Israelites. He killed a lot of his own people in order to get to that level, to unite the kingdom.
And if I may, one last thing, just very quick. Like, and it shows you, like, when you see that, when you see Korah, when you see, not necessarily Abner, because Abner, once he saw what was up, he tried to let it go. That was Saul's main general. After Saul died, he tried to carry on Saul's legacy because Saul had like, I think a 15 or something year old left. So they was trying to put him on the throne and establish him. But once he saw it was a dub, he's like, what's it called? Yeah. So basically what you want to understand about all these people, with the exception of the brother I just mentioned, they all hate the Most High. Like I said, Moses single-handedly rescued our people.
Right.
David had women making songs about how he kills anybody who came around him. Obviously, God's with this man. But y'all want to question their thoughts. You hate God.
God, let's continue.
John. So we in verse
17.
Right?
I'll pick it up from the.
Oh, you doing 17? Okay.
2 Chronicles 8 and 17. Azar halak shalama la'ai tazayawan gabar wa'al ayala waf al shapaf hayam ba'arataza dawam 18 wayashala lawa kawaram bayad ibadiyawa awan yawaf ana yawaf wa'ai badiyam yawa da'aya aim waya ba'awa aim ibadiya shalama awa payara waya kwakwa masham arabai ma'araf wa kama shayam kakar zahab waya bayawa al hamalak shalama. 2 Chronicles 9 and 1. Wamalakaf Shaba'a Shama'ai Shama'aya Shamai, which means listen, or in this case, it's talking about the past tense, which is heard. Af Shamai Shalama Watha Bawa Lana Sawaf Af Shalama Baka Yad Waf Bayara Washal Shalom Jerusalem.
Shalom.
Ba Kayal Kabad Ma'ad Wa pa malayam, Nashayam, Ba shamayam, Wazab, Larab, Wa aban, Yakwawa, Watha bawa al, Shalama, Watha dabar, Aimawa af, Kal, Ashar, Hayaha, Ain, Lababa, Waya, Wayapar, Laha, Shalama, af, Kal, Dabariya, Wala'a, Na'ilam, Dabar, Ma Shalama, Ashar, La'a, Hapayad, La'a, verse 3. Wathara, Malakath, Shaba'ah, Af, Kamath, Shalama, Wahabayath, Ashar, Bana, so like it. Pull out those out. Pick up from verse 4.
Verse 4,
I
come on.
like it. Should have let you read this.
Verse 4. Wama kal shakanawa wama washab ibad yawa wama I mother mash Mashar Yawa Wamal Ba.
This one is a bit better. Oh, that's good.
Come. Wamal Ba Washa Yadam Wama Shak Yawa Walab Wash Yadam Wala Ya Dawa Ashar Ya Either Bayath Yahawa Wala Hayaha Iwada Ba Ra'aka verse 5 was Amar Al Hamayan Hamalak.
Oh, that's the king. Malak is king.
Hamalak Amath Hadabar Ashar Shamath Ya Ba'ar Tazaya Al Dabar Yan Dabariyak Wa'al Khad Daka verse 6.
5 to be last.
Five should be last
Five,
one. Yeah,
verse. All right, go. Pick it up in English.
Come.
So we finishing at what's that? 9 and 5. Go.
Yeah.
Okay. 17. Second Chronicles, chapter 8, verse 17. Chapter 17. Then went Solomon to Geber and to Eloth at the sea side in the land of Edom. Verse 18. And Huram sent him by the hand of his servant ships and servants that had knowledge of the sea. And they went with the servant of Solomon to Ophir, and took hence 450 talents of gold, and brought them to King Solomon. Second Chronicles, chapter 9, verse 1. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon, she came to prove Solomon with hard questions of Jerusalem.
And when she came to prove Solomon, she came to battle. That's what she came for. She came to try to understand what's this? Who's this Negro over here?
Right.
What does he know that I don't know?
Right.
So when she came to prove, she didn't come with all submission. Solomon had to put that all in her place. And she had to submit herself and realize, damn, this man is wise.
That's
right. All right, keep going. That's what he means when he says she came to prove him. Keep going.
With a very great company, and camels that bear spices and gold in abundance, and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she confused with him as all that was in her heart. Verse 2. And Solomon told her all her questions, and there was nothing hid from Solomon which he told her not. Verse 3. And when the queen of Sheba had seen the wisdom of Solomon and the house that he had built, verse 4, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servant, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, his cupbearers also, and their apparel, and his accent by which he went up into the house of the Most High. There was no more spirit in her.
There was no more spirit in her. Like I said, she came to battle. You know, somebody that's trying to battle you, and then they lose all that spirit of war that they have.
right.
That was the Queen of Sheba. She came to prove him. You know, General Mahaiman break that down. Like, she ain't come there all peace. She's like, who? Like, she came here. Who is this Negro? Because she heard about the wonders of the children of Israel. So now she's trying to find out all the wisdom so she could go and rule. Because that's what these heathen always want. They want to know, how do we do it? And they copy off of us. And there was no spirit left in her. She couldn't battle anymore. She had to submit. That's what it means. There was no spirit left in her.
Verse 5. And she said to the king, it was a true report which I heard in my own land of thy act.
All right, so now that's when she realized, that's when she had no more spirit in her. It's like, dang, what I heard was right. This is a wise people. Like it says in get that scripture for me real quick. Get Deuteronomy 4 and 6. All right. And this is what we have to realize as a people. when we come back to the Most High, these nations, they already know who we are. These nations, they will bow down. Read that from you. Start off verse 5.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Most High my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whether ye go to possess it. Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for
Keep what? Do what? Our constitution, which is the law, commandment, and the statutes that the Most High taught us through our through the prophet Moses. Keep going.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
In the sight of the nation, in the sight of the Ethiopian. When Sheba came, she heard of that wisdom. She heard about it. She came to witness it. She wanted to find out firsthand, is it true what she heard about the Negroes, what she heard about the Israelites? Keep going.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
What did Queen Sheba say? Read that again.
Verse 5. In verse 5. And she said to the king, it was a true report.
Say that again, that last verse. Truly.
Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
It was a true report, which I heard in thy own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom.
This is it. No. Our wisdom, the other nations will submit once we get back to observing the laws, statutes, and commandments. Like it says in 2nd Ezra, you know, the hand of man is betwixt, you know, the heel, I'm paraphrasing, of course, of Esau and Jacob. So whoever is in power, the whole entire earth will follow suit with. Right now, the oppressor is in power. Right. But one day we are going to come back to power. And all the nations won't have no choice but to submit to our power.
Right.
All right.
And if I may, like, just so you understand and everybody online can understand, that's not me necessarily putting a gun to your head. I refuse to do business if you have a woman's face. Now, understand, if your face is naturally just clean, that's not you. Like a lot of Asians, I'll deal with that. A lot of them are clean shit. They don't grow facial hair, right? But yeah, any other people, yeah, I refuse to do business with you. If y'all a nation that like to go around being homosexual, I'm not doing business with a group of homosexuals. Right. I'm not going out and having, obviously y'all desire, and Trooper Harya Allah look at me and be like, yeah, you just did that deal to feed that country full of homosexuals, right? Yeah, I'm not getting looked at like that. I'm not doing business with you. Right. You're going to obey a certain standard that I have to keep up and that my friends have to keep up in order to keep being friends and business associates with me. Yeah, right. And I think about it, and like it's not just that, like even someone like Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un doesn't believe in homosexuality. Kim Jong-un believes a man should be a man and act like a man, right? At the end of the day, everybody knows Kim Jong-un starves his citizens. I'm not dealing with you, bro. Like I found out you starve your citizens. I'm gonna use that as I'm gonna do what America does. I'm gonna use that as an excuse to invade you, and then take all your stuff. And them little North Korean kids will love me right into that sweatshop. All right, you gonna have come.
Right.
Go finish up though. Let's finish up though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they're gonna have a picture in the sweatshop where they like what's called Commander General YAHANNA, and then me. It's gonna be me like this, like thank you for what's called giving me a chance to make dinner tonight. Because Kim Jong-un won't do it, and that's what that's the thing it has to be. People think we're just all about you're my slave now because you don't have the same bloodline as me. We have a problem with Kim Jong-un starving little North Korean children. Why? Because no child should starve. I don't go on the street because I feel that my children were wrong. It was wrong for my children to be fed to alligators. It's wrong for any baby to be fed to an alligator. Right. And the people that believe that that's right and will make postcards about it, y'all deserve to be in cages. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Y'all just too busy loving. The Khan, that's it.
Yeah, imagine. Up
No,
here.
yeah, Khan. Shapar. It's on. John. Yayan, which means wine. Gonna have a lot of young in a few weeks.
La Yashala means to Israel.
Most I'm trust. Shapar again. Alright. Oh, Salaki, I meant to tell you. Let's switch. Yeah, come. This is the one with the yeah, come. Alright, Sawa Panya Hakodam, which means turn to face the east. Oh, Salaki, I imagine, Salaki. I imagine Sawa Panya Hakodam, which means turn to face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanaw. Hashemayah. Hashemayah. God. Ayah. Isupk. Yahweh.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakat, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Shem Yahushua. Babushah. Doesn't in the English, Yahweh. The name Yahushua. Please give us the power. Power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. Power to cleanse the lepers. Power to raise the dead. Power to against unclean spirits. Cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Isaiah. Yahweh. I.S.U.P.K. In the English, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that giveth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that giveth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going up
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in.
and thy coming
From
in.
this time forth,
This time
even
forth,
forevermore.
even forevermore.
Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Altami alakar.
Altami alakar.
Alta Karat.
Alta Karash.
Alta Shakwat.
Alta Shakwat.
Allah.
Allah.
Kayahana.
Kayahana.
Awayadika.
Awayadika.
Yahama Yawan.
Yahama Yawan.
Wamashanayaka.
Wamashanayaka.
Nasha'awa.
Nasha'awa.
Ra'ad.
Ra'ad.
Al-Amaka.
Al-Amaka.
Yariyamwa.
Yariyamwa.
Sawad.
Sawad.
Tawa Sakia. Wayataya Aitasawa.
Wayataya Aitasawa.
Alta Tapawanyaka.
Alta Tapawanyaka.
Amara.
Amara.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanakakira.
Wanakakira.
Magoya.
Magoya.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yasukar.
Yasukar.
Shanyashrawa.
Shanyashrawa.
Aiwad.
Aiwad.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nama Aitasawa.
Nama Aitasawa.
Laba. Yakadwa. Alika.
Alika.
Barya.
Barya.
Yakaratwa.
Yakaratwa.
Ahalia.
Adawan.
Yashima Alia. Mawaba.
Mawaba.
Mahagaria. Ball. Amawa. Wabala. Kalasha. Anyashabi. Tazawar. Kam Ashwa. Nalawa. Imam. Hayawa. Zarawat. Labanya. Salah. I.S.U.P.K. Gamadian. Kasaya Sara'ah. Kayadian. Manakal. Bayashwan. Nashamadwa. Bayanda Arab. Iowa. Daman. Adama. Shatamwa. Kaira. Kazabak. Katazamana. Kamwa. Ashar. Marwa. Nairashah. Lalawa. Nawa. Alahaya. Shatamwa. Gogla. Kwad. Panyarakal. Kalaba. Talat. Ayan. Kanta Wadakma. Masa'arika. Baba Saupaka. Abalam. Mala'a. Manyam. Palawan. Wayabakwashwa. Shamka. Yahawa. Yabashwa. Wayabahalwa. Ajai. Yakaparwa. Abadwa. Yadaiwa. Ayan. Ata. Shamka. Yahawa. Abaka. Aliwan. Keep not thy silence, O my power. Hold not thy peace. And be not still. O my power. For lo, thy enemies making tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against our people. And consulted against our hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us cut them off and be the nation. And the name of Israel may be no more remembered. For they have consulted together with one consent. They have confederated against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Israelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, the Baal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. I saw also his joint with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Who unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabez, and the brook of Kisa, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zahab. Yea, all their princes, as Sabbath, and as Almuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power and possession. Oh, my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burning for wood, and as the flame set of the mountains on fire.
And now the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with that tempest.
Persecute them without
And
temper.
make them afraid with that storm.
And make them afraid without storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may see thy name.
And they may seek thy name.
Oh, Yahweh.
Oh, Yahweh.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
And troubled forever.
Trouble forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame.
Let them be put to shame.
And perish.
And perish.
That men may know.
And they may know.
That thou,
Thou,
whose name alone is
His name alone is
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Art the most high.
Of the Most High.
Of all the earth.
Of the all the earth.
Blessing.
Come. Blessings in the Hebrew, Salakia. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahushua?
Why Yahushua?
Why Mayaka'ala?
Why Mayaka'ala?
Why Alahaya?
Why Alahaya?
Tazab Ya'ah.
Tazab Ya'ah.
Alawak Yahanna.
Alawak Yahanna.
Alawak
Alawak.
Asaranya.
Asaranya.
Akwatasayanya.
Akwatasayanya.
Akayayahu.
Akayayahu.
Bahakwafya.
Bahakwafya.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem Yahushua.
Hashem Yahushua.
Wadaman.
Wadaman. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angel.
And angel.
Commanding General Yohanan.
Commanding General Yohanan.
Generals.
The general.
Captains.
Captain.
Officers.
Officers.
Troopers. And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it. So be it. Curses. I.S.U.P.K. curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and
And
earth.
all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Said evils and curses.
Said evils and curses.
Punishment and destruction.
Punishment and
To the
destruction.
heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against us.
That speak against
Like
us.
prophets.
Like prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers.
The Israelite
In the
brothers.
school.
In the school.
Said evils and curses.
Said evils and curses.
Punishment and destruction.
Punishment and
To
destruction.
the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose the treasure
Shake loose the
of the rich of Israel.
Of the rich of
That
Israel.
refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Cause their riches.
Cause their riches.
Enter into that sanctuary.
Enter into our sanctuary.
Said evils and curses.
Said evils and curses.
Punishment and destruction.
Punishment and
To
destruction.
the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nations.
Of the nations.
And the drug dealers.
And the drug dealers.
Court system.
Court system.
Prison system.
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
The Pope.
The Pope.
Islam.
Christianity.
Egyptology.
Egyptology.
Militia. Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads.
Skinheads.
Posse Comitatus.
Posse Comitatus.
The gay movement.
The gay movement.
Lesbian movement.
Lesbian movement.
Spies.
Spies.
Workers of witchcraft.
Workers of witchcraft.
National Space Program.
National Space
Army.
Army.
Navy.
Navy.
Air Force.
Air
Marine.
Marine.
Wall Street.
Wall
Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airwaves.
And the airwaves.
Cable access channel.
Cable access channel.
And the radio channel.
And the radio channel.
Convict the spirit.
Convict the spirit.
Of any of thy people.
Any of thy people.
That seek to stop us.
That seek to stop us.
And bring swift destruction.
And bring swift destruction.
All the heathen.
To all the heathen.
That stand in the way.
That stand in the way.
Try to stop us.
Try to stop us.
Broadcasting your word.
Broadcasting your word.
Throughout the planet Earth.
Throughout the planet
Let loose all the planes.
Let loose all the
Want
planes.
them to go to and fro.
Want them to go to and fro.
Through the earth.
Consume
them.
Consume
Let the plague.
Let the plague.
Shake the house of the thief.
Shake the house of the thief.
And the murderer.
And the murderer.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
Michael and Gabriel.
Michael and Gabriel.
Down with the flying saucers.
Down with the flying saucers.
Punish all the heathen.
Punish all the
That come up against us.
That come up against
As
us.
we speak thy word.
As we speak thy word.
Was it to be known by all?
Was it to be known by all?
It is the angels that have done it.
It is the angels that have
Was
done
it to be spread to the media?
Was it spread to the media?
Throughout the whole world.
Throughout the whole world.
Was them to shake at thy covenant.
For them to shake at thy covenant.
Name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
God. Oh, Salakia, bless Israel. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry, which means to turn. Man of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Man of Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak.
Yahweh, Yahweh,
Yahweh, hands down, dismissed.
You want me to be invited?
Sure.